to put you in a system, right?
Little pigeonholes, right?
Yeah, they were labeled as developmentally disabled. They had both developmental disabilities, but they also had mental health issues. And it was determined after a while, they were really challenged by living in such a restricted environment that you have in a developmentally disabled group home, because it's for safety, to try to keep people that have disabilities properly watched and helped and assisted in the way they needed. But these individuals really didn't need that level. They needed more what you receive on a mental health side. So it's not easy switching systems. But our team got together after one of the young men ended up in Rikers because he got so frustrated that he actually assaulted some staff and had to go spend some time there. But when he came out, we decided we're going to try something different. And we put him into a process to get him moved into the mental health arena. And now he's living in an apartment with a roommate, and he is thriving. He's pursuing artistic endeavors. He's a very talented artist. And every time I see him, he's got the biggest smile on his face. And he is so grateful that we were able to get him in the right space and with the right support so that he could live a meaningful life.
Yeah, these are the stories I'm talking about, where you don't give up on people and you find what it is that they need. And if we just stop for a moment, pay attention and listen, we will find what we need to do to help support someone so that they could be their best version of themselves. And that's just so underlines that whole process, and something that you're well known for. That I was hoping you would tell one of those stories like that, because I've heard so many wonderful stories. Karen, do you have some?
I was just thinking what could kind of be, So during COVID, interestingly enough, we were able to secure a grant from the Mother Cabrini Healthcare Foundation for our food pantries, as I mentioned earlier. And we kind of scheduled these food drives, these drive up. I remember during COVID, everything was drive up and,
Drop it all. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had, we did a series of these drives at all four of our pantries. Our pantries are in Wyandanch, Quorum, Smithtown, and Huntington. And during that, it was about a 6-month period. Every week, every Friday, we would have a drive up food giveaway. And it was in partnership with Island Harvest and Long Island Cares and Mother Cabrini and WellLife. So it was a really nice collaboration among agencies to kind of help folks. And we had elected officials coming out and working with us, and lots of people. And it was actually a really great opportunity for the staff who actually hadn't been kind of in person with one another to all kind of get together and kind of do this project on a weekly basis. So we ended up serving over 10,000 households over the course of that period of time, which was really showed how great the need was, of course, and just, how we were able to kind of address some significant community needs that were happening. And I think a lot of the folks that were able to take advantage of those food offerings were, folks that were individuals that were employed but may have been furloughed or lost their job during that period, individuals and families, multi-generational families that have been living in the same home. And, they were really, really super grateful and were able to utilize that opportunity. And I think it was great for us as WellLife, as a team and in an organization. And it was great for the communities that we were able to serve during that time.
Yeah, there's something to be said. I'm a Rotarian as well, and serving the veterans on Thanksgiving. They're so grateful, and I'm like, I feel like I need to do more for them, and more for the homeless who come in as well, and they're just so amazingly grateful. I got to tell you, they can't put me on the turkey anymore because I gave them like half a turkey each because I was just like, anything you want, what do you want? And it's just such a good feeling, and you're doing something so little, but that time matters, because without you there, we can't serve as many people as we do. So volunteers are so germane to an organization like yours, as well as others, to get involved in your community and give back. And it makes you feel good, and then it makes you turn around and be even more grateful for what you really have, because now you're looking at it through a different lens. You're looking at what you have when you drive back up to your home, back up to your apartment, and you're like, oh, I do have this, and they may or may not. So, and what you do every day is just such a beautiful story. Sherry, What's your why? Why do you do this? You don't have to do this. Why do you do this?
Well, I had a very intense life-changing event 17 years ago when my 8-year-old son was diagnosed with a brain tumor and unfortunately passed 10 months later. And it really causes you to stop and reflect on the purpose of the things you do. That's what opened the door for me to enter into a nonprofit space. I'm an accountant by trade, and I was living in Tampa, Florida at the time. And I was asked about 4 years after he passed, if I would be interested in helping a large nonprofit in New York with some financial issues, connecting the dots. And I said, well, I could do that, but I'm not going to New York. And so I'm an Indiana girl and I lived in Florida for years, but New York was a bit intimidating to me. I didn't think that was a place that I could thrive. But I learned quickly as I started to come up for some visits, and then they started to pull me in.
We're nice people, Sherry. We're nice people.
Yes. And it's just, we're all people, right? We're all people. And then the more I worked with WellLife, I was a consultant for 7 years. The more I saw what a blessing it was to know that the work you're doing is impacting lives every day that you come in. Every morning when I woke up, I was excited about what are we going to do today? Whether I was just working with numbers or not, it has impact. And so that's what really grabbed a hold of me. And they eventually talked me into becoming an employee and then to moving up here. So I am full born in New York all the time, and enjoying it, love the area and all that it offers, but more specifically, just love the opportunity to help people. Like you said, giving back is the most healing salve that you'll ever have in your life. And you always, always receive more than you give. It's just been over and over in my journey. That's why it's important to really find these opportunities and give back.
Yeah, so true. I love what you said. You always get more back than you ever anticipate than you give. And that's the why you do it, but it's just what happens. It's just the law of attraction that's at play. I love your story. I think that's beautiful. Karen, why do you do this?
I have, as you mentioned earlier in the bio, I'm a social worker. It's interesting. People ask me what I do, and I say, well, I'm a social worker by vocation, I guess, or by trade, but I'm kind of in this administrative real estate development world, which is interesting and fun and challenging. But similar to, what Sherry mentioned, and particularly associated with housing is that I live here on Long Island. I have young kids. I love it here, but I see it to be a challenge for young people to continue to live here. I hope for others to experience the life that I've been allowed to live here on this island. And there is certainly some barriers that we need to break down. There's some systemic issues that exist in Nassau and Suffolk that I think we can overcome. So I'm really passionate about that. It really, even though we're making progress in our Long Island projects, it's a lot slower than New York City. We have a little bit of ways to go. But it's every step that we take that moves us forward is so inspiring to me and to these projects. And I'm just so kind of dedicated to making sure that they get to where they need to get to.
Yeah, I hear you on that. It's like one project at a time. But every time you do that, you get to serve more people. And that one project serves not only the people in the facilities that you have, but the community surrounding it, because that makes people aware. Fear is based out of not knowing. It's the unknown. So we can take that fear away by just understanding and relating and being relatable, which you both are. You're amazing. Your team is amazing. I love WellLife Network so much. And when you were talking about, working and how you came up and you came up from Florida to come up here, it really is. What a great environment to work in when you feel so so much gratitude. I hear gratitude from both of you at the job that you do. You like love what you do. You get up every morning. It's a company you just really want to step out and work for, volunteer for, do something. And I find, and this is just scientific data, it's stats. I can give you stats if you want, but if you step out of your life and you're not feeling happy, you're feeling depressed, serve someone else. And I will tell you, your life will turn around. You will never feel that again. One, because you're going to see the world with a different light. Two, you're helping somebody else. And that always has that internal feeling that is so good and yummy. And three, more importantly, you really get a better view of what your life really is about when you see how other people don't have as much as we do. So what you do, I applaud what you do. I love this company. I was just recently exposed to it. I think it's amazing. I hope to have a very long relationship with all of you. And we continue to build on Long Island so we can give more affordable housing. So someone like my son, who right now is currently apartment shopping in the Brooklyn, Bronx area, is having a beastly time trying to find something he can afford to stay here because he loves New York and wants to stay here. So I totally understand that kind of frustration level, and that you offer that is just so beautiful. So thank you both for being on. Thank you for what you do. Continue what you're doing. Again, WellLifeNetwork.org if you want to volunteer, if you want to donate to the food pantry, if you want to come and work with this beautiful team, because you will love it. It's led by these beautiful ladies. You really, really need to step out and give it a try. Thank you again for being on Healthy Lifestyle with Lorianne. We appreciate you. Thank you all for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle. I hope we earn the privilege of your time. Thank you so much, Sherry. Thank you, Karen. Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And again, we look for our show next Saturday at 3 p.m. Until next time, play a higher role, serve a higher purpose, show up for you, and show up big. Have a great day, everyone.